Hi, and welcome to this training today all about the best placements strategy I've seen in doTERRA. So I have made some mistakes with placements, and so I want to share the best strategies I've seen, but also tell you about some of the mistakes I've made so that you don't have to make the same mistakes. Because the importance of placements is that placing correctly can lead to you flying through the ranks of doTERRA. And as you know, as you go through the ranks, your income potential increases exponentially. So you really want to get placements down pat from the beginning. So the biggest advice that I can give you is to focus on depth rather than breadth. So building deep rather than building wide. So you don't want like 30 people on your front line because then nobody is going to be benefiting from that volume. In doTERRA, one of the most amazing things about it is that it's so collaborative and we all rise together. And the way that you can make that happen is by building deep so that everyone in that line benefits from that volume. So this is how the majority, if not all, of the presidential diamonds within Australia have built their organisations. So it's very effective. So my next tip for you would be to focus on your uni-level commissions rather than building for power of 3. So there's two different camps in regards to this. A lot of people prefer building for power of 3, but the best placement strategies I've seen focus on uni level. So the reason is that uni level is where the highest income earning potential is. The maximum that you can be getting per month through having the correct power of 3 structure is 1,500 US. Whereas uni level, each month you can be earning over 100,000 when you get up to ranks such as presidential diamond per month. So you can see how important it is to really build for that uni level. So when it comes to power of 3, you may end up achieving levels of your power of 3 along the way to presidential diamond anyway. So just consider that a bonus, but not a focus for you. So power of 3 is a bonus. You can fill in all of those gaps in your power of 3 structure later on, but until you get to presidential diamond, just focus on your uni level. So say I had a class and then I've enrolled 5 people from that class, and I'm like, where the heck am I going to place these people? So I would look at each of those people and I would think, who was the most stoked about the oils out of those people? So the person who was the most stoked, I would put further towards the top, and then down to the least stoked. Because then the person who's the most stoked, they're probably on LRP, the Loyalty Rewards Program, and they're more likely to later on become interested in building the business if they're not already, because they're already excited about the oils. So that's a really good way to place. My next tip is, until you get to the rank of Premier, only build 2 legs. So I made the mistake early on of setting up 3 legs pretty much from the beginning of my organization. I would have been able to rank to Premier months before when I did. It took me 5 months to make it to Premier. I probably could have made it there within 3 if I had have just kept all of that volume within 2 legs. So I would probably say until you get around 1,500 PV in 1 leg, just focus on building 1 leg. And then if you get it to about 1,500, maybe you want to start looking at who's going to be the second person to put on your front line. And those frontline positions are really important. When you've achieved Premier, that's when you'd want to start adding that third leg. So not until you've achieved that rank would you want to start adding that third leg, and just trust that you're going to find the right person at the time you need it. That way, if you're just building those two legs really deep, then everyone's benefiting off that volume and everyone's rising together. The only reason you might want to add that third leg early, or you might want to add a second leg to somebody else who's underneath you, is if you find someone who you know is going to be a kick-ass builder, or if one of those people underneath you has personally enrolled someone to them who would be a kick-ass builder. That's the only reason you might start building that second leg or third leg for you early, is if you really find someone that you know is going to go for it. So trust that once you achieve Premier, the right person will come along to fill that third frontline position for you. Because when it gets to it, you could even ask a family member just to hold that position and then start building underneath. And then later on, a family member that you've kind of asked whether they just sit there for a while, and then once you find the right person, then you're going to transfer that account to that person. As long as everyone's aware of what's going on, then that is a way that you could do it. But the best way to do it really is just to, wait for that right person to come along and then start building that third leg and trust that it will just happen at the right time when it's supposed to. So another top tip that I have for placements is that whenever possible, as soon as someone enrolls, because that's when they're going to be the most excited about the oils, get them to share with one person who enrolls with their wellness advocate account. So that way, later down the track, that person has someone personally enrolled to them, which will minimize the number of people that you have to transfer enrollership of later down the track. So when you transfer enrollership of someone you've enrolled to somebody else, then further down the line, any monetary bonuses, because that person's increased in rank, you will miss out on those, and the person that you've transferred the enrollership to will receive those bonuses. So it's a really, it's such a gesture for you to transfer enrollership to somebody else. It's a real gift for that person. But if it's going to allow everyone in the team to rise, then, transferring enrollership is the best thing to do, because you don't want to stagnate your own growth just because of somebody else's inactivity. That would just be silly. So once that person has enrolled at least one personally enrolled person under them, then you can continue placing that volume underneath that person, and then you know that that person has somebody who later on down the track might be able to become a qualifier for them, which will be really powerful down the track. And then also that volume will, if everyone was to enroll one person, your team would just be growing and growing and growing at an awesome rate. So that's another advantage of them just enrolling one person right at the start. So another thing you could do is even offer to run a class for people that you just enroll, so that you can go over the information all about the oils for them and their friends. And, when you go to your first essential oils class, there's so much information. It's hard to, keep it all in your head. So then if you were given the opportunity to attend a second class, then I think that would be really valuable and powerful for that new enrollment. So that's a really nice thing that you can offer them, but it also gives you an opportunity to share with some of their friends, and then those friends will be personally enrolled to them. So the other biggest mistake that I've made in regards to placements is it's happened to me once, but I missed that 14-day window that you have to move someone into the correct place within your organization. So now I have one extra person sitting on my front line and nobody is benefiting from that volume, which sucks. So what I would recommend you do is set a reminder, whether you set it in your calendar, if you use Google Calendars or something like that, or just set a reminder in your phone for 10 days after that person initially enrolls. So then you've got some time. Also make sure that you have your Oils Empowerment session. We call them Oils Empowerment sessions, but other teams call them wellness consults or membership overviews. Make sure that you have that within the first few days after your enrollment receives their oils, so that you can get a better gauge of what that person might want to do with their membership. So maybe they might be interested in further down the line building a business, and that might affect where you place them in regards to the other people that you've recently enrolled. Okay, so the main thing that I want you to get out of this, if nothing else, is to build deep. Build deep and focus on that over breadth. It's much more important to build deep. So one person under the other. And so when you're actually doing the sponsor change, it's about, so say you enrolled 2 people, Mary and Frank. So if I wanted Mary to be on my front line, then I would put in my enroller number, my sponsor, my doTERRA ID, I should say, my doTERRA ID, so that I become Mary's sponsor. But then when I go to sponsor changes for Frank, I would put in Mary's number so that Mary is Frank's sponsor. So sponsor basically means the person who is directly above. And it doesn't matter who's enrolled that person. So there's a difference between the enroller and the sponsor, but the sponsor is just the person who's directly above. Okay, so that is the best placement strategy that I've ever seen. Leave me a comment below and let me know what was the most valuable thing that you got out of this video that perhaps you didn't think of before. And make sure that you subscribe, because there are a lot more videos like this to come. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Have a great week. Bye.